Oh, it's going to get down to 35 tonight.
Well, yeah. I mean, the whole eastern side and some of the Midwest, we've gotten it. We had snow about 3 or 4 days ago. It's going to take about 2 minutes for people to get in here.
Okay.
But I noticed that, thank God we're not having any precipitation. Although I thought the snow looked nice. I didn't go out and play in it. I don't know, maybe 3 inches. It was, but this week it's like brutal. I mean, it's going to be like 17, 19,
Oh,
and I'm going 21, and I'm like, I've got to go see my friends, and they live, I guess, on a mountain, or yeah, probably half an hour away, and so I know it's going to be cold. I can only go see them this weekend because I'm doing shows, even up till Saturday afternoon. So I'm not looking forward to that, but I'm looking forward to seeing them.
and where are they?
They're in a place called Mountainburg, which I'm in Van Buren, which is right outside of Fort Smith.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, it's a town of
I know where that
22,000.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm right on the Oklahoma border, 5 miles off of it. I'm about a half a mile off the Highway 40. So
I thought for some reason you were down by where the crystal mines were.
down in Hot Springs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been to Hot Springs, and the place that I want to go is, and there's a lot of places here in Arkansas. A lot of, I don't think they're certainly not known as well as Hot Springs. In fact, there's a swimming hole about 20 miles up the road that, see, I've been drawn here. I was drawn here in 2016 out of the blue at Van Buren, Arkansas. Like, how does that happen? But there's a lot of soul family here that we have here, and but there's a place about 20 miles up the road, and it's in at the base of these mountains, and it's a swimming hole. And I've had some experiences out there. But there's a place called Pinnacle Mountain, which is up around Little Rock. That's
Hmm.
supposed to be, something. Don't ask me. But yeah, so it's a pleasure to have y'all here. We've Morgan received a download in November about putting couples out, with no intention, but just for them to be seen because of the information through their experience that they might have that others can relate to, or code they might have. And yeah, this is how this all happened. But it's good to see you again, Allison. It's a pleasure to meet you, Greg. Thank y'all for coming in and sharing space with us. How did y'all meet? Who busted the move?
Yeah.
Oh, do we want to tell that story? Do you want to tell that story?
You don't have to. You don't have to talk about anything
Oh,
that's
we
too
can.
close.
We don't care.
Well, we lived in Minnesota, and they have a amusement park up there, Valley Fair, and I was on those carts that give out ice cream bars and stuff like that, and she was a sweeperette, and I say she was very flirty, but I don't know. She was.
Was.
I would give her, and don't tell Valley Fair this. They probably might come back at me, but I plied her with ice cream bars.
Statute of limitations is run out of
Yeah.
that.
It's only been a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
No,
80,
no, 1980.
No, it would have been 79, 80.
Yeah.
God, you guys were babies.
Well,
There's a big story in between. We
came around again.
married others, made our mistakes there, and come back around.
We had a couple on yesterday. They've been on before, and they first met in first grade.
Wow.
And so they went to first grade together, and then one of them moved, and then they went to the same high school. And it was so cool because they're obviously, like a lot of people in this community, a bit different, right? And so he was talking about how when she was in high school, he felt like that he was the most, kind of disconnected from the whole institutional aspect of school. Because I mean, that's pretty much a kid's universe, right?
Yeah.
And he said, but he looked at her and he realized that she was even checked out more than he was. So, but they did that. They, they knew each other then, and then they went on with their lives. And then 7 years ago, they found out through Facebook that they got reacquainted, but also found out they lived 5 blocks from each other. So
Wow.
yeah, so
Wow.
and I've heard that story before too. Yeah,
Yeah.
same as yours.
Yeah.
Now, so you intersected, as young adults, and was there any type of acknowledgement then of the attraction besides giving away free ice cream?
Oh, we dated on and off for probably from the time we were 16 until we even tried the
18.
long distance thing. I ended up leaving after high school and moving to Colorado to live with my sister and try to go to school out there.
Mhm.
And yeah, but we were very on again, off again.
Kids,
Yeah.
fighting. And
Yeah.
just little things.
Yeah, just stupid stuff. Like he was supposed to go to prom with me, and then like a month before, we broke up, and he, dumped me
I
because
couldn't dance.
he
so
didn't want to go to
I
prom and have to
Had to
dance.
figure out a reason.
The pressure of dancing.
Thank God you could see
It
his
was that
shadow.
simple.
Yeah. I mean,
Just
that's
goofy stuff.
so. How long ago did you reconnect, or did
It
y'all?
was 2010.
Mm.
2010.
2010.
I found him on Facebook. I was going through my divorce at the time, and just reached out to him, and we started a conversation going. He was going through his divorce, and we had that in common, so we commiserated over that. And then we started seeing each other long distance for a little bit, and then he moved down here. He was up in Tennessee at the time.
Mhm.
Good choice, climate-wise.
Yeah.
I love Tennessee, though. It's beautiful.
It is.
Tennessee's amazing. So, does he know that you're a fairy?
Oh, he knows my woo. He calls it my woo woo all
I
the
was
time.
going to
I
say.
probably don't want to call it that.
See, I didn't
Yeah,
have to.
yeah.
I didn't have to.
Yeah,
She did.
he indulges me.
I don't know what I do. Everybody seeks their own way.
Yeah.
It's my.
Well, I've run into this a lot over the years in 3,000 shows. Most of the time she's on, and I might ask about, are you in a partnership? And I just always get the image of Samantha and Darren on Bewitched. There's and it's interesting because, and I don't know how it works for y'all. You can add whatever you want, but it's interesting because pretty much all the time she will say, he's not like running in the same circles that I'm running in, but he's got something like intuitive or innate that, and he supports me, and in my weirdness, basically, and in my passion of serving others. And I know you do session work, so does that pretty much encapsulate?
Yeah. He's very modest about his abilities, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I
He,
mean, we can finish thoughts, and we could that deal.
He'll read my mind. He'll say something I'm thinking. I'll be like, "What did you just say? How did you know that?"
I am not adverse to thinking that somehow we know things. So,
but he's an animal whisperer. Animals love him. He can draw them out when we go places. He took me kayaking once for my birthday to go see manatees, and we paddled around for like an hour and a half with no manatees, and he's like, "They're coming. They're over here." And then we go and find him. We end up kayaking with this whole family of manatees through all these.
Once this female manatee, it was she wouldn't leave me alone, and I,
she was crushing.
We had to get out of there. It was bad.
Yeah. Animals like him.
Yeah.
Well, there's, I know with Morgan and I, we understood from the beginning. It was very obvious. She was very, I would use the term galactic, but I think it's a much broader term than that. And I'm very organic, but we have the similar things. Like we went down to, I think it's called Honeymoon Beach or Christmas Beach. I don't know. It's
Honeymoon Island.
Honeymoon Island, yeah.
Honeymoon Island. Yeah. So we were down there in early 2020, and so we went down there, and it was just a parking lot with about 10, 15 feet of beach, and I was in the RV, and she was laying out, and I got out of the RV, and I knew that the dolphins were coming. So I went, and by the time I was just standing just behind her, two of them came out of the water, curled up like an arc together, like, synchronized swimming. And they couldn't have been in more than 18 inches of water. It was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Wow.
so I think maybe there's something to be said for, the similarity.
Yeah. Yeah. But I've watched over the years, he's opened up a lot more to that side of him. Like he's had, conversations with deceased loved ones and things like that, just this inner knowing kind of thing. And I don't know, I would say you've grown quite a bit in that area as far as expanding, or else you're just expanding more because I'm expanding more. I don't know.
Well, there's a certain level of osmosis, I'm sure.
Well,
just
I don't know if I tend to believe I'm the person I've always been. I just I think she's a recovering Catholic and I'm a recovering Southern Baptist, and then everybody has a way. And I mean, I tell you what, I go to the church in Southern Baptist, and they're as devout to their beliefs as anybody else. So and I don't believe one way. I mean,
I got you.
Just saying, it's just I've always been kind of open to things anyway. So,
well, that's polarity at its best. The Southern Baptist, my family was Catholic, and of course, I spent my childhood going to the Catholic Church, even here in Latin sermons, and then my dad remarried, and we moved to Dallas from South Texas, and I remember the first time walking into a Southern Baptist, because my stepmother was Baptist, walking into a Southern Baptist church, and I was shocked because you walk into a Catholic church and it's pure silence, right?
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're a kid getting pinched by the adult that's watching over you, there's no sounds other than the squeal. But it was just like walking into a high school cafeteria. I mean, everybody was just, so the polarity of that, I think is interesting, that you carry both of them. So is there like a difference between, is there a similarity or what are the similarities and or the differences between when you guys were interacting as young adults versus the last 10, 12 years?
Young adult, I was a heathen.
We were we basically, I think the reason why we connected
kids,
so well,
kids calm you down, and then you go, you try to raise your kids in the best way you can, and
but when we were kids, we raised ourselves.
Oh yeah, when we were kids, though, we were just doing what we do. But
we had single
direction.
Parents. We were unsupervised. We just did whatever we wanted to do. And so we had a lot of fun, but we had a lot of wild times.
Right.
I'd say even since we got together, we've calmed down quite a bit. Right. We were kind of tumultuous for a while there. We tried to clean our stuff up before we got together, but it's ongoing process. It's still ongoing.
We've said that if we were to been married at 1920, it might not have been it wouldn't have been as easy. We would have made the mistakes we made with other people. And so we got them out of the way and, grew up a little bit, which, it's kind of a meant to be kind of thing, because now it's easier.
Like a divine orchestration.
Yeah. Really
Yeah.
is. I mean, when we first got together, I carried some heavy regret because I was just like, gosh, why didn't it work the first time? He went off to the Navy and he didn't ask me to go, but he went to the Navy expecting me to go with him. But he never asked, so I didn't go. So there was this weird, immature kind of thing going on there where none of us understood or communicated anything that was going on. So it's like when we split that final time, it wasn't in a bad way. It was just like a weird way. So I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah. And it's everybody will say you never will go back. I mean, I got my kids, she gets her kids. So
yeah, because I'm like,
yeah.
God, how cool
Yeah,
would it have been if we had kids together? But then it's like, no, I really like the ones we have.
Yeah. And there's enough of them already, right?
Yeah. Well, between us, we have 5. So
Yeah. Between us, we have what, 8?
wow.
But I give Morgan a hard time because, like, I had a lucid dream a couple of weeks ago, and we were in a 17-story house, and it was our house, and we were in our bedroom, and we come out of the bedroom, and out of all of the rooms are all these children, and they're ours. So I always give her a hard time. We've got to have so many children out there in the ethers or whatever that is, dimensions or timelines or whatever. But yeah, we're in the same boat as you. When we've been together and as we come back together, we have a rule, which is no pets and no kids. Like we need all of our energy in place, to mix together.
Yeah. Yeah. We got a cat that's
he's in charge.
probably our last
He heard
cat.
me.
Nah, yeah.
He's good. He's a
He
crybaby.
heard me. I have a thing with animals too, and it even happens just like it did right now. So no offense.
Yeah, sorry, buddy.
But it happens on the show. It's happened, repeatedly on the show.
That's funny.
So, I don't even know. I'm never too much at a loss for questions, but we've had this great question that so much has come out of while these couples have come on when we ask them, what is it that you admire about the other one the most? Like, what is it that you find, attribute wise or quality wise in the other?
I haven't practiced this question, so let's see. Now, no, I mean, she's the person that makes me better, I guess is the yin and yang that kind of fits makes things complete,
Yeah.
So,
We're good mirrors
love
for
of
each
my
other.
life. I mean, I got to say love,
Yeah.
That's the love. But no, I mean, seriously, she fills the gaps, and I don't know.
I think we've done this many times together. That's my deep inner knowing. I have been with him through so many situations and so many circumstances, and I've been told that as well from readings that I've gotten and things. So there's this deep connection that I don't even know that I could put it into words, really.
Yeah.
It's just we fit together.
Yeah.
And we couldn't be kept apart in this life. So it's just really interesting how it's all played out. But he's my rock. He's, I think both of us are very good at talking to the other one and just, I may be having a fit and he'll call me out on it. And he may be getting grumpy about something and I'll call him out on it. And then we'll just sit and go, oh, you're right.
Peter the Rock. I mean, if you know that analogy. So,
Peter the Rock?
Yeah, Peter was,
Oh, yeah.
He was really not that reliable, but he was the Rock,
Right.
supposedly. But so, yeah, I mean, I'm reliable, but I'm not, I'm just as fallible as her.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've grown. This has been a growing process because early in
Not
our
that she's too
relationship,
fallible.
you'd mix a little alcohol with it and then it would just be like explosive.
Yeah.
And then we do this, kind of kiss and make up thing and then do it again. And then it's like, okay, wait, that's not working. It's not real functional.
Yeah.
So, it's taken the 11 years that we've been back together to work through all of that. And it's still a work in progress, but
Yeah. I mean,
thing.
why would it be any different for a couple than it is for an individual? You know what I mean?
right.
But yeah, I agree with what you're alluding to. That mirror is it's the best part because it takes you to a place to look at yourself, and who better to deliver it,
Yeah.
right?
And she allows me, and I allow her.
Yeah.
You don't do that to too many
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
No.
People can't
No.
do that.
I started having a grumpy episode last night, like that one where you're going, I don't know if I want to be here. It was just on the pity pot, which I don't do a lot of, but, and so I was talking to Morgan, like you said, she allows it. So she just let me kind of go. And then she just said, you might want to just go to bed. Just, and I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Just diffuse the situation, right? And then I went through something the other day that was unexpected. It wasn't a big deal, but it was having to do with where we have a place, and there was a change in ownership, and I got some information. I'm like, what's going to happen? And I got on the phone. I said, I got to vent. I'm balanced, but I got to vent. Of course, I wasn't balanced. And she said, go watch this. Go look at this post I just wrote, and then call me back. So I read the post, which had to do with our relationship, and I was just like, oh, as I got tears going down my face, I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, she's right. And I called her back. Yeah, you're right. Nothing else had to be said. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of, obviously we were in Florida when COVID hit. We were in St. Pete Beach, and we were just staying for a short period of time, and then it hit and everything got locked down. So, it's been obviously been an influence on everybody. And it's kind of strange, I guess. It's different. Our parents lived through World War II, and we've had other, I guess, global events. But has it been an effect? And I don't mean, I mean like in your relationship. Has it been something that's come in and shown its face, or something that is kind of like on the outside of the bubble, the good bubble that you live in together and share together?
I'd say it a bit, just the fact of being closed up a little bit more. We're pretty active in doing things, and it's kind of taken away some of the stuff we do. But
It pushed us out in nature more.
yeah, but
Definitely.
you go out on a trail, and someone walks up by you with a mask on, and you're like,
Yeah.
that's
Breathe
my
the air.
opinion.
It's so fresh and wonderful.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, that's
just weird world.
That's the year we September 2020. It was strange. We always had this idea of living in an RV and traveling about. And we were living in Pinellas County, which is kind of near Honeymoon Island, where you guys were.
Yeah.
And we'd go out, and you could feel so much tension and aggravation, and it was just icky energy. And I never thought I'd leave the Gulf, because we were just like walking distance over to Honeymoon Island. And we looked at each other one day and we go, let's buy the fucking RV now and get out of here, because I can't do this anymore. And we just, like, both of us like that, within a month, we had the RV. We decided
very minimalized.
Yeah. Got rid of all of our shit, whatever's in here, and a small storage unit is all we got.
Yeah, 5x5, and that's still too much. We got to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, so that was just like, we decided to get a landing spot. We decided, instead of traveling around, because we heard some horror stories on that we would just have a parking spot and go out when we could go out and travel around. So that's kind of what we're doing. And now we're kind of feeling like maybe we should look for land, but that's not been going so well. So I don't know where we're going to end up. I've just finally released myself to being fluid with the situation. We had a couple offers that we had put in and all of that, and they fell through for various reasons. And I got really down about that. And now I'm just like, you know what? Whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Right.
It's hard to stay in that mindset when you're in a 28-foot trailer all the time. But
Yeah.
I'm really trying to hold on to that.
Yeah.
Something about the relationship that we can do this.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I mean, I drank before, when we first started out. I stopped, and that's helped a lot because you can't.
Yeah. I told them,
there's no way.
If you're going to drink in the trailer, I'm going to be spending the night somewhere else because it's too small of a space to have that.
Yeah.
It wasn't just for that reason, but I'm done drinking.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. There's a lot of, you're seeing a lot of that the last couple of years, at least, what I've been exposed to. And that's people, in the physical shedding, whether it be traumas or belongings, and making lifestyle changes that seem to be kind of natural, like with the alcohol thing. Like, I can relate to that. It's just different things and then you see so much of it, you realize that it's not just me and it's not just y'all. I mean, it's happening. Something's going on, and I think we could say over these last 2 years that's been what's created all this COVID and everything that came with it has been kind of an impetus for many people. Whether they were conscious of it or not, there just seems to be this mass shedding of materialistic things, along with the emotional stuff that we release and so on. So it's good to hear that. And you're right. And in regard to the space, we were gifted a 26-foot RV when we went down to Florida, and it was a very small space. It was so.
It's challenging. If you're working through some shit, you need to just get the hell out of the space if the other person's here, because it's right. You feel all of it.
Yeah,
it's just right up in your face.
Yeah, but now, it's also.
I don't know if we could do this like in somewhere cold. Here we can get outdoors.
Yeah, because we can get outdoors. Yeah.
The door's more open. I mean, if we were in somewhere it's snowing, and we'd probably be very stir crazy.
And we're in the country. We're by this amazing state park, just like 5 miles from here. So it's just perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just feel I need to say this. I just received a message that Clifford Mahudi from Sedona, the Zuni elder, he just transitioned. He was at Soulogy Fest, and we've interacted and collaborated before. I know a lot of people know him. But so rest in power. But also on the subject too, I mean, because, Morgan has this saying ever since I met her, a copy is a copy is a copy. So we're talking about releasing and shedding and transforming and lightening up and so on. But I think one of the things that seems to be happening as well is people are transitioning. Yeah. And I know a lot of people have been touched by that. One of the couples we talked to yesterday, I know on a personal level that had brought some, seemingly external pressures. Have you guys had to deal with any type of loss such as that, in terms of like people getting sick or maybe even just disengaging from you because your frequency is so different now, or just things like that?
The disengaging part, yeah.
There's not a lot of people that pass that we know, but we know of. I have relatives that have, but I mean, they're at an age that I was waiting. It was. I don't want to say that. You kind of expected it, but and then the disconnect. I mean, it's just like we're too connected, and it's all proved that we're too connected because people, you don't want to hear my opinion every day, and I don't want to hear anybody else's, that's probably everybody's very opinionated these days,
Yeah.
So,
Well,
True.
and I've seen a disconnection in my social circle, somewhat brought on by myself, somewhat, I think, brought on by us. There's a misunderstanding, I think, with Greg and I are very passionate people. We will. I have no problem just spitting out what I think at a moment's notice. It
Yeah.
always doesn't come
Oh,
across.
I thought you meant like rabbits passionate.
short connection.
Oh, well,
Well,
yeah,
I'm just messing with
that
you.
up.
yeah.
Allison will tell
We
you.
work on it. We
We're
work
older
on it.
rabbits now.
I just have a sense of humor. I like to play a little bit.
But yeah, so that's kind of like, I don't think people understood the deeper connection of our relationship,
Right.
because there's always this strong foundation that would bring us back together, no matter what kind of spat we may have or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd piss me off sometimes, when we first got together. I wouldn't talk to him like 3 or 4 days. I'd just like shut down and just say, you're not allowed in here, and just, do that whole thing to him, and we've grown a lot from that. And I think there's, some judgments that go on when people look at a relationship from the outside. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors with people,
Yeah.
how they're working through things and all of that.
Very true. And even individuals, and that's kind of a good segue. I was going to ask you, what is the core foundation, do you feel, or the core foundations of your relationship? I know Morgan put up a post a few days ago. It may have been the one that pulled me out of that funk. that basically that's what it said. She was talking about some of the experiences that we had that don't pull up images of unicorns and rainbows, and but how we always came back to what you're talking about, and that may be the core of your relationship. But would love to hear what your thoughts on, what is that foundation?
I feel like it's trust. I know there is nothing he would ever do, consciously or intentionally, to ever hurt me, ever.
Right.
I mean, he's hurt my ego before, but at a deep soul level, I can trust him more than anybody I've ever known my whole life. It's just inherently there. And he loves me, no matter what, too. I mean, this whole aging thing, we're both struggling with it. And we're like, but when I look at him, I see this 16-year-old boy that I fell in love with. And I'm just like, I don't see an old man. And we walk around and go, oh, there's some old people over there. We're like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's us.
Yeah, we sometimes call younger people than us those old people over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. That's
So
funny.
we're just got this, I don't know what you'd call it.
Yeah. I mean, and it's I think it's the age thing where the fight is a little bit less,
It's not important.
No.
Just, it doesn't matter anymore.
No,
it's falling away.
You get to a point where you want to become your own person, and you want to be your own person, and so you fight to be that person. And now I'm on the other side of, it's just like, what's the easiest, I don't know.
How can we enjoy the rest of our time?
Yeah,
now that we're kind of,
most of your ideas are good.
Woke up and figured shit out, and it's like, okay, let's not waste our time anymore.
Yeah. Like whatever person I want to be, I just know I want to be with her. So that's more of the priority, so we've found that we've gone through, and everybody's different, but like we had one extended travel experience from August of 2019 really till, I guess, would have been summer of 2020, throughout the country, and a lot of that time it was like we were moving into different archetypes, like partners, business partners, more of a platonic period, romantic period, even like energies of like father to daughter, mother to son. I mean, have you experienced anything like that where you've like recognized different, parts or different aspects of each other?
I kind of feel like, yeah, I mean, it happens. It just naturally kind of happens. I was kind of thinking back to, like, I went through stage 3 colon cancer in 2013. And I always am so grateful that I had him to be there as my support mechanism through all of that rather than my previous relationship. So that was a real shift in roles there, because in my past life, raising my kids, I was kind of like the masculine archetype in the relationship. I held the good paying job. I, took care of everything like a man would take care of everything. And it was hard for me to submit to being weak and not being able to really help myself that much, and all the emotional stuff that went along with that. So he was a really good caregiver during that time.
Wow. Talk
And
about.
I think that, oh, and then, after I got done with everything, that whole year, 2013 was my lost year, but that was also my wake up year. I've always been awake, but that was like the kick in the pants year.
Yeah.
To get my shit together, get out of the corporate job, stop all the stress and all that crap. And then right after I get done with all of that, return back to work, he goes and ends up in a plane crash 6 months later.
What?
And it was like he was looking at death in the eyes. So it was just like, now we both have that same kind of appreciation for really living life with gusto and enjoying it to its fullest, and not taking shit so seriously, and being here to enjoy why we're here, having adventures.
More important things. And
yeah.
Wow. That's a powerful sequence of events.
Yeah.
Talk about yin yang, and like how much more vulnerable can you be? And then it gets reversed. Like, that's huge.
I don't know about you, but I'm school of hard knocks, man. I got to have shit hit me upside the head for me to wake up and go, oh, yeah, that's not so good.
Don't feel bad. I think most of us can relate to that, but I think we're getting better.
Yeah.
There's a lot of speculation and opinion, as Greg's talking about. Everybody's got one, about what people call twin flames, or forget the label, but just connections such as yours. I think there's certainly, and it's understandable that people have certain perceptions because we were, programmed or conditioned or whatever you want to call it. But there are differences, and I think you just spoke to one, like what's really important. I mean, if we were, I mean, I'm a little bit older than both of you, I think, but if we were like 40 years ago, just from a hormonal standpoint, certain things would take priority. You know what I mean? And, but like, I think from, one of the things that's kind of been coming out of this is like, what is romance? Is romance part of these connections? Where does it sit? Let's say on the priority list, and what does it look like? Does that make sense? You have any thoughts on that?
I'll let you take that one.
No, I mean, I guess I tend to be more younger handsy sometimes, but that's my romance, but it's not romantic to her. But I mean, no, the romance we're having now, to me, it's the best. I mean, it's
It's
You know,
transcended the physical.
It's
Although
no,
we still like the physical,
yeah,
but it's transcended that to a point of
no expectations.
right,
Yeah.
right. If it
Yeah.
happens, great. If it doesn't, great.
Yeah.
But just like being together and walking together in the park, to me,
Yeah.
is a romantic situation. Where before it was like, I need candles, I need flowers, I need a nice dinner, I need,
Yeah.
And I just needed sex, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think this is, this is the templates we've been handed. I mean, but also you're explaining the evolution or where it's come to, and maybe when I ask this question in the future, it'd be instead of using the word romantic, intimacy, because what you're saying about taking a walk or no expectations, no performance, that's an intimacy. And even what you experienced where you both became extremely vulnerable and just some of the other epiphanies and revelations and the results of those things, such as where you're sitting and living now in this space that wouldn't have made sense 5 years ago, right?
Right.
I mean, who would have thought, let's destabilize ourselves from the eyes of society and act like we're back in the amusement park kind of
Right.
frequency and not looking at tomorrow, but here you are. And the other thing that's interesting too about your story is like what you were talking about, like of course getting the travel, the RV, getting rid of everything, the 5x5s, small by those storage standards, but even that's too much. Is this, and then of course the thing about the land, like looking for land and things not working out. It's this. There seems to be more and more evidence as time goes on with these couples of the presence of a third energy. You could call it the Holy Spirit, you could call it whatever, the golden child, you could call it whatever you want, but like things seemingly at times not going in your favor, but actually protecting you and keeping you on course with what at a higher level or an innate level, that will make sense in retrospect, but at the time doesn't.
Right.
Can you relate to that?
Oh yeah,
100%.
yeah. It's how we live. I mean, it's some of it is a lesson. You got to go through the lesson. But yeah, we've hindsight. You look back and you're like, wow, it's
Good thing we didn't do this. Good thing we didn't do that.
there was a reason, yeah, and everything worked out. I mean, I'm not saying I take it the way it comes and where it's at. I ain't saying that, but I also think that it just seems like things are happening the way they should.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
how that
we
goes,
get in the flow. We definitely, and we kind of lead the other into that flow sometimes when necessary.
we're each other's muse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there are times like I'll be having, freaking out because like, oh great, this house fell through and this land fell through and blah blah blah. And
Usually
he'll
my
just
fault.
bring no. He'll bring me back to center on the whole thing and kind of just there's something there that's kind of just making everything go fluidly.
Yeah.
Whether it's
and I kind of believe in this that there's it's something it'll happen.
Yeah, the
Right.
whole it's meant to be. Yeah, and we kind of live by that.
Yeah.
But then the age thing is like, okay, you got to commit too.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I
like
might
the
be waiting
RV
forever.
thing. It just it's not like us to just go drop $25,000 on an RV and sell all our shit. It's just he needs time to process stuff. But when we just clicked on that, it happened so fast. There was
Right.
clearly something else at play there that was helping us move along.
Yeah, the fact
And
that
it
we
all
found
fell into place so easy. In 2020, everybody wanted a stinking RV. And we had a
Still
very
do,
specific kind that we needed, a 4 seasons, since we were going to live in it all the time. And the day he found it, he held it up to me on the phone and I'm like, that's ours.
Yeah.
Just buy it. When you go there, just buy it. I just knew that was it.
Right. And I knew she would, it's one of those deals where this is the one she's going to like.
Yeah. Now, if every day could just fall into place
Yeah,
like
and I
that,
tell
that'd
her
be
about
so
the
awesome.
land. I said, she'll know. I said, you'll know. You'll
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
When Florida land is like,
And maybe it
very
won't be
cheap.
land. You know,
It's
I've
not
come to
gonna happen.
that. I've come to that too, you
It
know.
might be highway.
Yeah. I mean, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Everything's in flux and we're ready to just go with it.
Yeah. And on that note, I mean, whether it's woo-woo, light workers, starseed, Roman Catholic, Southern Baptist, I mean, whatever, and we can look back at sacred texts, we can look back at oral histories, but there's a lot of things pointing to the time that we're in now as having been prophesized. It certainly feels like something's going on. And one of the things one of the places that I see it is like in my life with Morgan, as atypical or non-stereotypical as it might be from where we've all come from. Oh, well, you're together, you should be together all the time, and you know the different roles and labels that we're given, how they're all been shed. But like from where you guys are coming from, are you feeling something going on? Do you talk about it? Does it matter? Are you more? Have you gotten to a point where it's more of just, hey, we're together and let's enjoy this moment by moment?
I think I'm more that person. Now she'll tell you she believes something's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lifetime, and I believe every lifetime at a certain point we feel that something's changing. I mean, there's somebody in 1880 that said it, or 1920,
Sure.
or, and 2070 or whatever. We're all gonna. We want that feeling. We're seeking it, so we see it. But I mean, I only have so many years left on this earth, so I'm not going to worry about
Right.
if something's happening or not. I mean, I'm going to enjoy whatever it is.
Yeah. And he keeps me grounded in that. Because like I'll get into conversations with my friends and be like, oh, it's the end times and this is going to happen and maybe this is going to happen.
What are you
and
going to do?
It's like,
why
am I talking about it? Why don't I just go out there and enjoy what I've been given in this life? Because I'm here to experience all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. We went to my hometown, just one of those things, that third energy arranged for us to go to my hometown. I've been, disenfranchised a long time ago. I never thought I'd see these people again. And I come from a large Mexican-American family. So we went down last February, and I ran into my father, who I hadn't seen in several years. Now he's 85 years old and full of vitality and very interesting energy. But so we were talking, and I'm not real hung up on conspiracy and just I'm not really. It's not a big deal for me. I'm more like Greg, and but anyway, it came up somehow. He said something. And I think it would have been in the context of like what's going on. And I said, well, there's, 13 families supposedly, that control the world. And he just looked at me and said, so. and in that moment, I realized
you now? They don't control
right?
me much in my RV. I don't know.
Right?
Maybe they
Like, in that moment, I realized the wisdom of that one word answer, like where he was coming from. Like, and I felt like, I felt like this big, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
And it's a work in progress every day.
Yeah.
To be in that present moment and be grateful for all that you have.
Yeah. True. Yeah. As distorted as things seem to be, there is something happening to me that's whether, like if we're just going to use the example of like, say, by traditional terms, two lifelong partners, romantic lifelong partners, whether they're sitting together like you and I or half a world apart like Morgan and I, there's there just feels like there's something pulling us closer and closer together. Like, people talk about, like, put yourself in someone else's shoes, being able to actually feel that. And you guys kind of went through that when you had your stage 3 and he had his airplane accident. Like, I would imagine that you really were able to reach each other to like even greater depths than you could imagine by going through that experience. I mean, that's huge. What a huge gift. I'm sure it wasn't easy, but wow. I mean, that's solid.
I don't look at life as being a, it's not going to be a miraculous thing when I pass. It's going to be just something. I mean, I could be driving to work and it just happened. I don't worry about that, but it just makes you, even the littlest thing can the day on this earth that you move on might not be as momentous as you think. It might be something stupid, so
Yeah. Yes.
So that's kind of the way I look at it, is don't just move on and don't worry about it, because it's going to happen. I don't know. I was hoping I would be the one guy that, well, I'll take her with me. I could be Methuselah, live forever.
Yeah.
And not die. Or is it Methuselah? I don't know. It's one of those
Or
guys.
Enoch, like Enoch.
Enoch, that's it. He flew. Yeah. Me and my wife.
Yeah.
But that's not, I don't believe that's going to happen.
Well, I think what you're saying is, which is really, very wise. I mean, what you're saying is it's there, just like everything's there, but you're not going to allow it to distract you from what you're,
Exactly.
And that's where I always end up. I did a little, I guess, poem the other night about my friend Franco, who transitioned in October, and it was like, the summation of it all was, it's just it's life, living. That's it. I mean, anything else is, in my opinion anyway, unprovable. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be warm dirt or eternal. Now, I innately feel that I'm eternal. But, the whole point is this moment. And I think you said it earlier, like I say it a little differently, but it's like, what do you want to do? Who do you want to be with? And I was telling somebody last night, given the availability of our experience, to include the internet, and everything, and even if it wasn't there, if I can have this connection with her, I wouldn't change a thing. I mean, I would, like, I'd prefer that we're physically together whenever we want to be. But even if she was in another solar system and I had this level of contact, or another universe, I still would pretty much be doing the same thing I'm doing now. So there's something coming in, I would say, that's I don't know. It's almost like if you think about what you went through with the stage 3 and the plane crash, and that whole interlude of, changing roles and going to the depths of really transparency, not vulnerability. I mean, it's beyond vulnerability. I mean, what's the outcome of that? Like, that's obviously some type of initiation or something that, from a higher level or a soul level, you said, "Hey, I love you. We're going to do this," and there's going to be a payoff. That's just how the universe works. So,
yeah,
I mean,
it was a big wake up to just live life. Don't say we'll do that vacation next year, or we'll go try this some other time, because we don't need to do it right now. It's like, we're going to do this right now.
Yeah, we're not the type. We don't like COVID, because COVID's raining on our parade. So we like
because we just like to go places and do things, and
that's right.
Because it's
that's the energetic part of the rabbit frequency that we need to keep. It doesn't just apply to procreation; it applies to like you said. I mean, why wait?
Well, and aren't we here to experience all of this? He put it perfectly. This is a big theater.
Mm-hmm.
So what role are you going to play? What are you going to do? What does your character want to do? Well, my character wants to go to Cabo. So let's go to Cabo. Okay, I'll go with you. And, I don't know if I'm making any sense, but it's just
No, you are.
enjoy it, drink it in, take advantage of all of it.
Yeah.
So you've kind of touched on this, but before we get out of here, I just want to get an idea. Of course, there's been over the last couple of years from COVID and the repercussions of it. But also, I think, that's just maybe an identifier or a physical representation, something that the human aspect can be more uh, aware of, where I forgot what I was. Where you can't really plan things. Like, it's they're like schedules and planning and the old structures of kind of building the flight path aren't applying. And then you kind of mentioned that in what you were saying, but what are your plans? I mean, as things stand, if you have any, like where do you see yourself in 5 years, or do you even think about it? Going back to what Greg said.
Gosh, I used to be like, I'm a recovering planner.
Hmm.
I'm still working on that. But yeah, COVID kind of pulled that rug out from under me. And yeah, like we just, like a couple days ago, like a week ago, planned a trip that we're going to take in a couple weeks. Where before it would be like, okay, lay it out, know everything we're going to do, how we're going to get there, how everything's going to happen. And now it's just kind of like, well, let's do it because we can do it now and it'll work out and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Now, I know his career path has him very structured and regimented, and mine's a little bit more loose. I can do as I want, schedule as I want, that sort of thing. But it's hard. Like when he's home for an extended period of time, we don't know what day we're in most of the time.
Yeah.
We have to keep asking each other multiple times a day because it's just like time is going into some weird warp mode or something where it either goes super fast and it's like all of a sudden it's a weekend, or it goes, what day is it? I swear it's Sunday, but it's Wednesday.
Our job is not Monday through, it's just whenever. 5 years from now, I think we want to be kind of just self-sufficient, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
I kind of want to farm.
That would be cool. I could do that.
I come from that kind of world, but
I don't.
I don't know how much I really want to do because it's not that easy of a world. So
let's retire and farm. Let's do hard work.
Yeah,
I don't know plans.
Yeah, I was watching a movie last night, which was a feat in itself. But the character lived on the other side of kind of a bunch of hills, and and that's what it was. It was just his own little paradise, his own little space, and hidden from everyone. And with the farm animals and the farming, I thought, wow, I could do that. That would be kind of cool.
I kind of feel like there's a shift going towards that. A lot of people are simplifying so they can get back to that more organic state of growing your own things, canning your own things. I've been seeing a lot of it in this community.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe that's just us falling in line with the inevitable. Maybe this is, people talk about climate change and changing consciousness and everything in between, and maybe it's just all paralleled and bigger than all of us, and it's happening. And kind of like what Greg was saying and kind of like just get out of the way. And you don't need to know everything, and if you do think you need to know everything, I mean, you can, but I mean, the more you more you dig, the less you the less you're present, with yourself and your loved ones and all that. Yeah. So it was nice sitting down with you guys. It's a breath of fresh air. I mean, there's so much. It's so much more obvious to me as the days go by doing these shows. It's not the words. It's just the bandwidth of frequencies that a person or a couple or whatever offer, and all the information is in between the lines, basically. So
Yep.
It's be-
Well, we
and-
appreciate you having us on, Todd.
Yep,
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely. Does anyone ever ask you? I mean, has anyone ever said to you that you look alike? I'm just curious.
I think we start to morph to look like each other.
Yeah.
You know,
We do, yeah, we're getting a belly here.
Belly
well, I
going.
mean, right around here, and I'm sitting there from the beginning of the show looking at, do they look alike, or is it just but right around
We both
here?
have Irish genes, so maybe
Yeah.
something back in Ireland meshed at
No,
one
I mean,
point.
if I turn my head, I got a big nose. Hell, but it's bigger than the other. Flat
Yeah.
screen 2D now.
Well, I see it in Morgan and I sometimes, and we don't look alike. But I look at pictures and go, "Wow, we look alike." But I think it's what
you
you're
start
talking
to
about.
morph a little bit when you
Yeah,
hang
you start
out
to-
with
yeah.
somebody.
Yeah, true.
Could be.
Well, you guys, I wish you the best, and if you get over around Fort Smith, Arkansas, give me a holler.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on my list to go dig some crystals. So
There you go. Yeah,
yeah,
I'll be here, and we'll just go out and see what we can get into.
sounds like
Neat.
a plan.
Yeah.
Y'all take care.
Bye,
Thank
Todd.
you. Bye-bye.
All
Thanks.
right. It's nice meeting you.